Oh, I feel like we say this every week. Never a dull moment in Cleveland sports as you introduce a new coach. The basketball team has new players. And we're going to talk about all that here tonight on the show. Really, there's really only going to be one conversation tonight because Ryan and I differ on this conversation. I'm not saying it's going to be heated or anything like that. There was a better shot 2 days ago, but I don't even think it would have happened then. But yes, we do disagree on this show. Like that tends to happen. So we will get into the basketball conversation in just a little bit. I'm Kevin Earl. He's Ryan Mosser. We are partnered with LPV Productions as well as Greeny Sports Cards. Reach out to Greeny Sports Cards, greenysportscards.com. Their next show is coming up in February at the Kirtland Senior Center. Their once a month show. They're always live every Tuesday night at 7, doing eBay auctions, things like that. They got guests on there. They're talking about the trading card game, the trading card world that a lot of people are into, and it's not just sports. Like sports is their main focus, but they get into Pokemon, they get into other things, and there's that memorabilia side as well. If you've ever been to one of their shows, you see everybody at their tables with the cards, but there's also, there's plenty of pieces of memorabilia. I know one of the shows, Ryan, Jan and I picked up a signed Shane Bieber jersey, one of those road grays. So, there's plenty of that stuff at their shows. Greensportscards.com. You want more details on their shows, you can get there directly, greennyshows.com. Right? How's the week been?
Been long, man. Long. Got that newborn still. Hallie's about to go
Yeah.
back to work too, so gonna be fun.
Yeah. Yeah, it's been a long week over here too, So we got a bit of an injury in the family right now. Jan's dealing with a bit of a calf strain or popped calf over here. So we're just keep on trucking through. We're now in now in February, so that's what we're gonna do. Just to kind of almost like rapid fire some of the things that have happened, but not as big in the grand scope of Cleveland sports. Do want to shout out the Crunch for getting another win this past weekend. They stay unbeaten. They play the number one team on the road across the border up north in Toronto, Canada this weekend. The Toronto Crusaders, a matchup of unbeatens. I think that they're actually tied in maybe the Crunch at one point was listed as the number one because of the other tiebreakers, so they haven't faced off yet. But this is really that next big test after that game 2 weeks ago against Red Cedar from that state up north. So when they won 10-8, so this will be a big one. But you're going to be without still Mikey Derzic for one more game. Their star forward. Admir Suljevic suffered a groin injury in the last game, so you're probably going to be missing your two-time reigning MVP. And a couple other injuries that are still out there. A couple guys that were day to day throughout the week. So we'll see who's available. I know who's ever going to be out there is going to give it their all, and I'm sure there's plenty of Crunch fans that are going up there to Toronto to watch them. But it's exciting stuff, and people need to get out to the Wilson Center.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
Yeah, right now on the Crunch website, actually, they have a buy one get one free ticket deal. So I would go check that out. I saw that. That's pretty awesome. And then also they just did a sponsorship with Dick's Sporting Goods in Strongsville, which is really cool too. So
Yeah, the House of Cleats. Have you seen those new versions of Dick's Sporting Goods, the House of Cleats spots?
I'm not.
They're like these extensive places, all for like all the different sports that you're gonna play. But they have like batting cages in them. They have more high tech, like golf simulators. They have more things like that's like it's almost like a workout facility or one of those facilities to go train at for your sport because you get to test products and stuff
Interesting.
than just going to shop and getting shoes and stuff like that. So, yeah, I haven't been to it either. I used to work at Dick's out here on the east side, and that's kind of why there's a bunch of shoes off to the side here because I took advantage of that the employee discount.
Right.
Probably too much. Probably should have saved some money at that time. But hey, we're
It's an
we're just
investment. There you
yes.
go.
The investments are sitting off to my left. So yeah, so they continue to grow. They continue to get partnerships. TheClevelandCrunch.com. Get the tickets. I don't care if you don't watch when I'm calling the games. I really don't. If you get
You
out to
should though. He
the
does a great job, by the way. So you
I
should.
appreciate that, and there's been a lot of kind words from some of the highlights over the last couple weeks. Especially with the two diving headers that we've seen, one each week.
Right.
This past week from the debutante, Jamin McCourt. I'm telling you right now, like it doesn't look as extensive on maybe in real time as it was. I don't know if you saw it or saw the highlight of it, Ryan, but the ball gets like sent through the air like about halfway down the field, and it just keeps floating.
Okay.
And if you're into hockey, hockey has the glass all the way around, so there's that crevice between the wall
Mm-hmm.
and the glass. Well, like especially this indoor setup, I know that, other places will have like either like nets or walls, like glass all the way around to try to prevent the ball from getting too into the crowd. Luckily at the Wolstein Center, just where the seats start, it's far enough away where the ball is kind of lost. I think some of that speed coming
Sure.
off some of that coming out of the field, but like that is like a weird. It's kind of like in baseball, especially at Progressive Field. You don't see many triples, but it's like when it hits like that right little crevice and it kicks the wrong
Right.
way.
Yeah.
Like this is hitting that crevice is hard to do, and it should have kicked like random directions. It just popped right up to McCourt. He dives, heads it over top of the goalkeeper. Like it's just the amount of skill, attention to detail, patience for it to come down, all of that, so much that went into it. So happy for him getting a hat trick on his debut as well. So that was really cool to see, and they beat Fort Wayne 13-8. The other
Mhm.
thing was the press conference. Oh boy, another coach won a press conference, right? Another coach won a press conference.
Yeah.
What did you make of him though? Because like we don't have play on the field right now, and his style of coaching and what the team is actually going to look like, what type of accountability there actually is, and being able to manage the game. Just your impressions from Monk and just being able to now hear from him directly for the first time.
I do appreciate that you can tell he has raw emotions about it. You can tell there's genuine excitement. There's genuine almost relief. Like he's worked his whole career to get this position and now he finally has it. And I mean, other than that, that's really cool. But I'm pretty desensitized to press conferences. Yeah, so you're saying all the right things, but I'm not an idiot. I see what this roster construction looks like. There's a lot to do before this team is going to be good again. I would say even competent again. Hopefully there's just that one off-season window. I doubt it. I still think that looking into the future, probably next year is not going to be the best results for the Browns. But I think it's necessary for them just to continue to build. And Andrew Berry's got to continue to hit on his draft picks. Other than that, I mean, like I said, I'm desensitized. I personally do like the Lincoln hire. I mean, I didn't at first. He wasn't my top choice, of course. But like I said, I on previous episodes, I can definitely see a clear path where this can work because of his offensive philosophy. So
It's probably unfair to Monk, and like you said, like the emotion was real. It's a cool story. I mean, he bet on himself. Like when
right,
John Harbaugh was like asking him to come to the NFL, like he was betting on himself. He could have stayed with Kirby Smart at Georgia and continued to try to help dominate down there at Georgia. I think they definitely missed Todd Monken in terms of their offensive scheme and like ability. Like I think someone like Gunnar Stockton, who's not a pro level quarterback, but like
right.
I think he could have done, and he did great stuff there at Georgia. Don't get me wrong, like they could score points, but I feel like they would have gotten more out of Gunnar Stockton with a guy that can adapt his offense to anybody, like Todd Monken has been known to do. You listen to anybody credible that knows the game and will forget more than I'll ever know about the game of football. Like they can tell you that, and that's how he's been his whole career. So it's probably unfair of me to a guy that's getting his first opportunity to say, I don't care.
Right.
I don't care about what he said, and I know that that's the only thing we can judge them on. Like we say, like don't talk about it, be about it. Well, really, your next action is when you get hired is to talk to the media.
Sure.
Like it's giving words. Again, everything is gonna matter when you start to get into September, and then you see how this team progresses. Yes, there'll be steps along the way. You got to go to the combine. You got to get draft picks. How you can restructure contracts to do anything in free agency, we'll see. Um, Really, one of the biggest things in free agency, I think, and as we get closer, we'll talk more in depth. I think it's going to be keeping some of those defensive guys that are, a Devin Bush, who is kind of found what everybody expected him to be
Yeah.
as a first round draft pick. He's found that here in Cleveland. What is it sounds like the scheme is going to stay the same no matter who's leading the defense. The scheme is going to stay the same. Like that's something that Todd Monken told everybody. Now, if it changes, if the scheme changes, there you go again. Like words don't matter. Like it's
Right.
all about your actions. I know. Where do you stand on Jim Schwartz and the way he's kind of handled this since not getting the job, and kind of it feels like, and especially after that press conference, it feels like he's not going to be around.
Yeah, I fully expected it. I could see, like I said, maybe a glimpse of hope that he would come back if it was Nate Shieldhouse or Grant Udinski, just because they're it's a young up and coming coach, and we're going to see what we have. But because Todd Monken is a peer of Jim Schwartz, he's going to take that personally, of course.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. He's on contract for another year. He's got one of the best defenses in the NFL. Half of our defense, if not all of them, are rooting for this guy and want this guy to be here. Nonetheless, he's not making the tackles. Myles Garrett is. He's not breaking the sack records. As much. I would like to retain him. It's a weird pickle, man. He could force his way out. They're under contract. There have been coaches that have been traded in the past. Bill Belichick was traded from the Jets to the Patriots. There's been a few coordinators that have been traded. I don't know if we'll go that route, but that's an option. At the end of the day, I feel like you just gotta let his way out, force his way out, or I don't know, let him go of his contract, I guess. A lot of people are saying the 49ers was his destination. Obviously, they hired a defensive coordinator. So, time's ticking for him as well. Their teams are filling positions, and, his opportunities, he'll probably get an opportunity, but his high potential opportunities with teams where he could probably be successful, they're, dwindling as time goes on. So, there's a time sensitive issue, and it's a weird, sticky situation between a rock and a hard place right now. So
if he's not going to be here, it's going to sound weird because I definitely I want the miracle that they're able to work things out. Like, you do whatever he wants contract wise and all that kind of stuff. And I also don't want that because it just feels like getting an answer on all of this taking this long. Like there's definitely animosity, and it's two alphas in one room. Like I just see that. Because we've seen it in Cleveland, I just see that being a combustible element that we're just waiting for that fuse to be lit, and then everything just goes off the rails, and you're starting from scratch yet again instead of like Todd Monken's here, like this should be starting from his scratch. Like there's definitely pieces here, so you're not starting from the bare bones. But what I'm saying is like him putting his imprint as a coach on this team. Like you don't want to just keep redoing that type of recycle. So, But if Jim Schwartz goes anywhere else, selfishly, I kind of want it to be the Raiders because I've heard Matt Patricia could be an option there for Tom Brady and Clint Kubiak when Kubiak's able to start, gets introduced and all that kind of stuff after the Super Bowl and starts putting his stuff together. I want to make sure Matt Patricia stays at Ohio State at least one more season. Allow the assistant coaches to kind of maybe develop a little bit more under him. So then you have a system now in place. You've established it for 2 years. And if you go internal, then those guys know exactly what it is. I think that's something here. Like Jason Tarver could be an option if you don't go Jim Schwartz. Like, that's like I run the board for the Browns Daily Show, like the daily show that's 5 days a week, right there in Berea. the name that I hear not just the host talk about, but everybody that comes into the room, the name I hear talked about, and the guy that comes in all the time is Jason Tarver, and he
Yeah.
seems like he has, that kind of trajectory coming forth and becoming a defensive coordinator at some point.
Interesting. I never thought that. I mean, I absolutely have been vocal on retaining Jason Tarver is a necessity. He has to be on this team. I was specifically thinking more about just, as the linebacker coach, just because we saw the development of Carson Swester, we saw the progression, the career year of Devin Bush, Mahabud Diabate looked fantastic. Jerome Baker, those linebackers are playing. They are cracking dudes this year. It makes me nervous. First time defensive coordinator, first time coach. Even the offensive coordinator, I think he's first time, isn't he?
I think so.
I know he worked under him. I think he was promoted though. Yeah,
he was run game coordinator.
So that's rookie. All three departments coaches, which concerns me a bit. But
I mean, the one good side is Monken's calling the plays. Like,
true.
I know people don't always like that. Like, they want the head coach to be the CEO and you delegate that. But when you have a guy that's now going from run game coordinator to offensive coordinator, I think that, they do it out there in LA. Like, they have their pass game and the run game coordinators that are hot commodities, and they were definitely talked about as potential head coaches, even head coaches beyond, but they haven't called plays. They haven't even been the coordinator yet. I think it's right for someone that hasn't been the coordinator yet to be in that role, help with the planning, the conversations, how they're going to go with Todd throughout the week. Just knowing, allowing him to do what he does, and that is calling the plays, and he's going to have to figure all that out. Like, now he's not just focused on the offense. He doesn't get to go back and talk to them while they're on the sideline, because he's got to be, front and center when the defense is on the field, when the special teams is on the field. Like, you got to rely on that guy that you promoted to offensive coordinator to now talk like you would talk, as making the adjustments and getting on the tablets and all that kind of stuff. So I do feel and I do feel better about the offensive side, because Monken will call the plays, and he's done that before.
Right.
Yes, it would be a question mark for someone that hadn't been a coordinator yet and has to call those plays. And it is interesting too. Like, if we're into Jason Tarver, he's not the one that was getting interviewed for defensive coordinator jobs. That was the safeties coach that went down to Dallas for the defensive coordinator job in Bonda. So, people kind of overlooked him. Yeah. Maybe he wasn't even talked about for other coordinator jobs. So take that for what it is.
I'm not necessarily as nervous for Travis Switzer as I would be if Tarver became defensive coordinator, just because, I mean, the most important thing with, Monken and Switzer is they've worked together. So they already speak the same language.
Yes.
I mean, they have the same philosophies. They mesh together already. I mean, Monken handles the passing architecture, the spacing, quarterback development, while, Switzer builds that run game engine that, everything else runs off of. So, and I mean, the fact that they speak the same language, they're going to install the same, or relatively the same game plan, I would hope, at least. Similar to what they've already had, I think it is an easier transition.
And he gets to see it a little bit closer. So then, like, as if Monken's able to stick around, shows that he's the guy, then he wants to pass some things off so he can focus more on being the CEO of the team as the head coach. Then, like, the natural progression is, Switzer takes over play calls and doing, because he's seen it even closer. Now he really has Monken kind of flowing through his philosophies and all that kind of stuff. Do you expect to see any surprises tonight at the NFL Honors in terms of our guys up for the awards? Is there any chance Miles doesn't win Defensive Player of the Year?
We riot. No way, dude. I mean, you don't break in a standing NFL record, that's been, held since Michael Strahan and Brett Favre, was that 2009, 2010?
Mm-hmm.
You don't, he's going to get it. He better get it, or else there'll be hell to pay, as they say. I don't know. I'm not really nervous about that. I think he should win it. I think Carson Switzer deserves Defensive Rookie of the Year. I'm rooting for him. We'll see. I'd probably be surprised if he didn't win that. But other than that, I don't know.
Yeah, I'll keep track of like what the other like who wins the other awards and stuff like that. But really, the one like that I have questions on because I just don't know that they would give the Browns 2 awards, even though it probably seems like they should.
Right.
Would be the Rookie of the Year, Defensive Rookie of the Year. But Schlesinger just has been all over the place for Defensive Player of the Year. Like, yeah. If Miles doesn't win, we riot. And like I wouldn't even in that meeting when you're taking the vote, like when you're doing your votes, I wouldn't even bring up highlights of him sacking a quarterback. I'd bring up highlights of the Pittsburgh Steelers game where they literally prevented themselves. They delayed their
Yeah.
ultimate AFC North championship to play in a way to stop, like to prevent one guy from wrecking the game, and you still lost than they did to actually just go win the game. And they are more talented. They could have easily beaten the Browns that day. Because they could have wore down the defense. Not that the defense would have had a bad performance. It would have been the defense just wearing down like they've done in other games because the offense just couldn't put together enough points to allow that defense to cook and play with that lead. So that's my evidence. That's Exhibit A for me for Defensive Player of the Year.
Well, there was no way that Pittsburgh was going to let Myles Garrett, the player against on the rival, and also they have T.J. Watt, who's his rival as well, and Aaron Rodgers, who's a Hall of Fame quarterback. There's no way he's gonna, take that record just as Brett Favre did because he's always lived in his shadow his entire career. So there's a lot of factors involved there where I get it, but I still think it's childish and stupid.
Yeah, and trust me, there was a lot. They kind of took what other teams had started to do those last couple weeks and really accentuated all of that to prevent one guy. So I think that tells you everything you need to know about the dominance of Myles Garrett. On the hardwood side of things, because Guardians haven't done anything, so there's no, we talked about, I think we talked to Jose last week, didn't we? Because that was coming out the press conference was last week. So, little ways before, and the weather outside, like, ain't gonna be any baseball mood anytime soon. But basketball, NBA trade deadline finished off today, 3 p.m. Giannis stays in Milwaukee for now. That'll probably be revisited. Anthony Davis, who's hurt and can't play, and Trae Young, who's hurt and can't play, somehow get traded. And there's a bunch of people involved in those trades, and Washington's planning for the future. If Anthony Davis can actually stay healthy, maybe they're building something out there in the nation's capital. But you look here at home, and one of the biggest trades, the marquee trades of this trade deadline was Darius Garland and a second-round pick for James Harden with the LA Clippers. Yes, they did get Dennis Schroeder and Keon Ellis, who actually, they looked decent last night. Cavs get a big win against the Clippers. But you could just tell, like, there was, like, emotions running through that.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know where Harden was. I don't know if he was gathering his things up to meet the team in Sacramento. But Darius was definitely in attendance. That had to feel weird for him. It was very emotional after the game. I was listening to a little bit of Kobe Altman's presser today. That got emotional. I just want to set this up because, Ryan kind of teased it to people out there, tune in to VTL, the Voice of the Land, and I saw your tweets, like you were all about it. I was not. But I don't think this conversation is going to get outlandish because I think the whole point of this is, like, I think we both understand the other side. It's just like, I'm not here to convince you. I'm not here to convince people like you to feel the way I feel. That's never how I've been. I talk about how I feel. If people feel the same way, great. We can talk in unison. If we don't feel the same way, let's find out why, and come to it. And I think, over the last couple of days, the emotions have definitely settled down. The one thing I will say is I don't feel like, and I'm not saying this is you, Ryan. I'm feeling the people that are in favor of this trade, I don't feel like they read the majority of people like me that weren't in favor of it the right way. Everybody thought that we were all emotional and we want to hang on to a guy that can't even play and all of that. Yes, we love DG. I'm a DG to PG fan for life. Like I will at least keep an eye on what he does, and hopefully he's able to be on the court more often than he's not. If he's not, then we know where his career trajectory is going to go. It's going to end sooner than it should, just because of the injuries, and that's a real criticism. I love the guy. It is emotional, but I had gotten to the point, and I think a lot of people that feel the way I feel had gotten to the point where, just like the Cavs did, they needed to break up the core four. It wasn't working, and I don't know that they've just getting rid of one of the guys is enough. But they're going to ride this out to the end of the year, and then this 2.5 year window, I would say, trying to win it this year and maybe keeping James Harden around, and then can you if you don't like the way that Allen and Mobley are playing together, do you continue to break up that core four? That's questions for the offseason. I was ready to break it up. I love the core four. People called them the sore four for a reason. I was ready to break it up.
Yeah.
I don't like who they decided to break it up for.
Okay.
That's where I'm at. I know you are in favor of it. What do you think? Why are you in favor of it? What's Harden going to bring to this team? Why does this put the Cavs in a much better position today than they were 3 days ago?
Yeah. I mean, like you said, I get it. Emotions are running high. They're coming down a little bit, but a majority of the Cav fans absolutely loved, Darius Garland. He was beloved here. He was homegrown. He was marketable, easy to root for. Even myself, I loved him. But anytime a player like that gets moved, the first reaction is emotional and not logical, in my opinion, at least. A lot of people just don't like Harden for Exhibit A or Exhibit B, or this one instance in the playoffs, or his personality, or the strip clubs. Yes, we're not necessarily, bringing in probably the best person into Cleveland. But this is the type of move I think that you make when you're serious about winning a championship. It's not a feel-good season, not a second-round cameo. This is a real run. The Cavaliers, I don't necessarily like that they started when they, hey, we'll do Darius Garland for Harden at first. Obviously, yeah, you want to try to optimize and maximize your return. I don't necessarily like that they settled on sending a second, but I still do like the trade. I do think it's a win. I think it's a big one and a necessary one. James Harden, let's start with the obvious. He is the better basketball player. He's better than Darius Garland. He's one of the best passers in the league. He's a better playmaker, a better manipulator of defenses, a significantly more reliable postseason performer than most people want to admit. On top of that, he gives the Cavs a massive relief from the second apron, and it gets them out of Garland's max contract, a contract that was only going to get more expensive, with his extension looming. I'm pretty sure he was almost eligible for a 2-year extension for $125 million. That would extend up to 2030. Not a chance. I don't think the Cavs were ever going to make that extension. I just don't think so, especially with both injuries on both feet, having to wear the steel plates into shoes and this and that. Granted, Garland is talented, but he's also unfortunately unreliable, and that's an unfortunate realization that I at least have to make. He's missed time every year. He's disappeared in back-to-back postseason, and with Donovan Mitchell's window being small and incredibly urgent, the Cavs simply couldn't keep waiting for Garland to become the player we'd hoped he'd be. I don't know. This front office certainly chose. I'm nervous here. Sorry. I don't know. It sucks because I also like Darius Garland. I'm a fan of Darius Garland. So this sucks. It sucks that I have to be logical and not just a fanboy. I'm not calling anybody a fanboy, but I was a Baker bro to the end. So I get it. I understand latching on to a player and loving this guy. Why I think Harden makes the Cavs better right now. Donovan Mitchell finally gets a real co-pilot. Mitchell's carried an absurd amount of offensive load the last 2 seasons, and James Harden immediately reduces that burden. He can run the offense for long stretches. Mitchell can play off ball more, which he is absolutely lethal at. Defenses can no longer load up on one creator. This is like the first time that Mitchell's had a true peer playmaker next to him. Also, I think Evan Mobley is going to benefit tremendously tremendously. This is the part of fans I don't think are talking about enough. James Harden is one of the best pick and roll passers of his generation. I mean, Clint Capella was a max level center because of him. He revived Joel Embiid in his MVP campaign. He turns role players into lob threats and short roll killers. Imagine that same passer working with Evan Mobley, who has elite hands, elite touch, elite vertical pop. Has never really had a true table setter. Now he does. Evan Mobley is about to get the easiest offense of his career. Also, I think the offense has structure finally. The Cavs have been more of a your turn, my turn, team for several years now, and Harden fixes that. I think he organizes, he slows the game down when needed. He also can speed it up when needed. He gets shooters involved, he gets bigs involved, and he can control tempo like a quarterback. I think this is the first time since LeBron the Cavs have had a real offensive conductor. Not saying that Mitchell's not a good one, but Harden's a great one. So, I don't know. I mean, his defense, a lot of people say, well, he lacks defense. I think that's one of the narratives that people, repeat because they heard it once in 2018 and, never updated their information. I think it's outdated a little bit. I mean, he's not being brought here to be a stopper, and that's okay. I mean, the Cavs didn't trade James Harden because he's Marcus Smart. They traded him because he's one of the best passers in the league, one of the best pick and roll creators, tempo setter, play of experience, offensive engine. This guy's he's had so much experience in the playoffs. I get he's fallen short in the playoffs, of course. People are saying, oh, we don't want to bring him in because he can't win a national championship, or I'm sorry, NBA championship. I mean, yeah, you can't win one until you win one. I get it, but I mean, you're not acquiring him to lock up wings. You're acquiring him to run your offense at a championship level. And that's what Cleveland needs. I don't know.
So, and again, I fully understand what you're saying, and I hear you on being the better basketball player. And I think, to me, DG is a guy that can get bigs involved in the pick and roll, but his size, I think that's where James Harden has the advantage there, being 6'5". He's able to, he starts at a higher level. His pass starts at a higher level, and then he can get it up and over outstretched arms, because you would see guys kind of like it wasn't a shot block, but it was blocking of lob passes from DG, every couple times because of his size, and they would, they could time it up pretty well. So he is James Harden's definitely the better basketball player, and James Harden is a future Hall of Famer. But I will say I don't like his defense, but I don't just do that because I heard someone say that.
No, I know you don't. Yeah.
And here's the thing. There's not what you said. I'm basically debating people that feel the way you do.
Sure, talk to me, dude.
But have different, like, they come at it from a different narrative, where they have like different choices of narratives that they think are coming from people like me that aren't in favor of it, but are hoping that we're wrong. Like, I want this out there right now. Like, I'm rooting for the Cavs. I'm rooting for James Harden. Like, I want this to work. I want to win a championship. I want to come on here. I want to go on social media like I did the other night. Like, I want to do a video that says I'm wrong. I don't care. Like, there's so many people that, like, I don't know why, but with this case in particular, like, people are bringing up their tweets about the Core 4 and, like, it not working, and, like, they're trying to, like, prove them, like, oh man, I've been proven right, like, trying to, like, puff out their chest. Like, that's not what this is. I don't care about a win for me. I want to win for my team. Right. Like, so if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I've been wrong before. Jana, my wife, tells me that all the time. She'll tell me that again. Like, I don't care about being wrong. Like, that doesn't affect me. To have to have an opinion that then is, as evidence comes in, is proven wrong. I don't care about that. But where I come at this is, like, as we look at the defense, Darius Garland is not good on defense either. I would hope that James Harden is better just purely on size, and we don't want him to be a stopper. We're not putting him on the best players, but what have we seen in the past playoff runs that have put the Cavs out sooner? Teams, when you're able to focus on just one team in a playoff series, they exploit your weaknesses, and that is a big weakness with James Harden playing defense, and he's going to have to give more, like, I'm not saying he hasn't given effort in the past, but he's gonna have to give more of that here. Like this is still supposed to be a defense first team that leads their offense. They had 40 plus points off of turnovers last night because they got the Clippers into bad offensive sets and forced them into turnovers, and then they got out and ran. Like imagine James Harden being out and leading one of those breaks. Like how much more success rate you're gonna have. But you have to be willing to at least commit to that. And look, the Cavs have had more success. I'm not saying that if DG was still here, I would want him to be a part of the playoffs because you're not winning anything without DG a part of it. But they've had more success in the regular season when he's been out this year because it's addition by subtraction. His inability to play defense, that issue is off the floor, so teams can't exploit that. But now that issue is coming back onto the floor, and you're going to get a lot more offensively than you're losing defensively from James Harden. I get that.
Yeah, a lot more.
Again, a lot more. But in the playoffs, like again, that gets honed in on. It's probably gonna look. We're not going to see it as much, or maybe see how big of an issue it is in the regular season because you're going from team to team and you're trying to get better as a team yourself. You're not. You have a game plan. You know who you need to stop. There's there's a plan on defense, there's a plan on offense, but it's not as deep and the same at the level of the playoffs. James Harden knows that. All these guys know that. They've all played in the playoffs before. So I expect that understanding to be there, but that issue now is back on the floor. So that's one thing that I come at this with. I don't care how he spends his time like in adult clubs and stuff like that. Like that to me is not a reason that I didn't like the trade. Yeah. I don't like, he's a much better basketball player, but it's things outside, like within the game that's kind of outside the court. It feels like he gives up too easily, or he's like willing to move on too easily. Like if you need to be traded one time and you go somewhere else and you have success, like he kind of did after his first trade, like okay, like that's something with the team and they weren't getting the most out of you. Like it wasn't working. 4 times. I know he's like it's out there that he didn't request a trade this time, but at least 3 of the 4 times he's requested a trade, and things got tough in Philly, things got tough in Houston, and it just feels like we're bringing that into a culture that we're trying to actually establish to be the opposite of that. So he's gonna have to buy in very quickly, and even if it's just for this stretch run. You have to buy into that. You can't be like sulk and go off in a corner type attitude if things get tough, because there's going to be tough moments as they adjust to him and bring him into this. And there's going to be tough moments if you want to win a championship or even put yourself in a position to do so.
Sure. I mean, it's naive to think that they're not bringing him in beyond just for this stretch. He's here to win a championship or to give them the best chance to win a championship this season. Beyond that, we don't know. And for that reason, I don't think there's enough time for him to be disgruntled. He's going to be in playoff mode. The only thing you mentioned is maybe there's adversity in the playoffs where he kind of shuts down. But I mean, we don't want to see that clearly. Nonetheless, we still have Donovan Mitchell, who is still the heart of this team and still is going to be the engine, put the team on his back regardless. Donovan Mitchell's going to step up his game no matter what. I obviously don't want to see Harden, that happen. I don't think that will. I think he'll, be strong-minded and be focused on one, objective, one goal, and that's winning maybe a championship this year. In terms of you talking about his defense, I just don't think he's as bad as everyone thinks. I mean, he is a strong post defender. He's got one of the strongest bases in the league. I mean, he does not get bullied by bigger players, and he can switch onto bigs and hold his ground. That's very important for a guard. He's excellent at defensive rebounding. Which ends possessions. Something the Cavs have struggled with when Mobley's off the floor. He's smart and understands rotations, angles, and when to funnel players into help. And I don't necessarily think he's as much as a liability as people say. And not to mention, the Cavs have built the roster so Harden doesn't have to guard the best players. This is where specifically the additions of Dennis Schroeder and Keon Ellis come in and become crucial. I mean, Dennis Schroeder is a fantastic defender. He's great at the point of attack. He can chase small guards, takes on the toughest point guard assignment every single night. Schroeder covers for Harden the same way that Patrick Beverley did in Houston. And same with Keon Ellis. I truly think he's an elite defensive wing. He's a long, destructive, high motor, can guard 1 through 3, sometimes even 4. Just
every time.
Hi, buddy.
Your garbage is not in here. I don't need your diaper right now.
No, I mean, I just that's the perfect low usage compliment for Harden and Mitchell. I just think that, and not to mention, I think the Cavs' defensive infrastructure is already there and has been elite and can be elite again. People forget this, but Evan Mobley is, a defensive player of the year caliber anchor. Jarrett Allen is an all defense level rim protector. I mean, the Cavs have been a top 5 defense multiple seasons. Yes, obviously they're taking a step back this year. But the scheme is built to protect weaker defenders. The system absorbs offensive-minded players. They've done it with Mitchell. They've done it with Garland, and they can absolutely do it with James Harden as well. So, and like you said, I mean, I personally think his offense more offsets his defensive concerns in a huge way. I mean, the Cavs didn't lose playoff series because of defense. They lost because they couldn't score. 2 straight years of the offense collapsed. 2 straight years they had no secondary creator. 2 straight years they were predictable and easy to scheme. I mean, Harden fixes all of that immediately. He organizes the offense, creates easy shots, elevates Mobley, reduces Mitchell's workload, punishes playoff traps, and gives the Cavs a real half-court identity. I'm not saying he's the best defender, but I mean, I just feel like, I'm not saying you as well. We're not about to here, but like the general Cavs fan is wrong about his defense. I mean, yeah, there are instances and moments, but overall, I think he's much better than perceived. So,
yeah, I like his game. I like James Harden's game, and like I wish like that could be the only thing I said about James Harden. Okay, and there's so much around him, whether he's created it or it's been something, like a narrative that's been put around him that can't shake.
He's infamous compared to Darius Garland, who is beloved. So, I mean, I understand. I mean, you're bringing in the villain and not, and not the Wonder Boy kid that you hoped he could have been. So,
yeah. I mean, again, look, to people that still think that, Cavs fans that are upset about this trade, like, yes, we're upset about DG leaving, but we know he's not available, or at least the people that are living reality know. Yeah. That he wasn't ever available. And James Harden's played in 44 of 47 had played in 44 of the 47 games the Clippers had played before this trade had happened. He's only out last night because you're just finishing up the physicals and all that kind of stuff. He wasn't going to play against his former team. He wasn't. I don't even think he was in the building. So There's 2 things that can be true at once, and they can be separate. They don't have to be together. We can be sad about DG leaving and seeing all of the handshakes last night, and people wanted to break down his short stint with Evan Mobley. I didn't take anything of it because Evan Mobley, like, he doesn't. I'm in press conferences with the guy. He doesn't say anything like that. Like, you could just tell, like, he's not. It was like a look between him and DG that, like, we know, like, we're brothers. Like, we don't need, like, some, like, long, drawn-out speech or anything because Mobley's not going to talk very long anyways. Right. So, like, I didn't take anything of it. I'm pretty sure Mobley put something on Instagram, too. Like, I think he did a post about him. But, like, to see those handshakes, to see his message to Cleveland, and, then the videos of him getting a tour of Intuit Dome and seeing all that. I think what's cool for DG, and especially if he can get back healthy, especially this year, and get back on the floor, playing for the team his dad played for a couple of seasons. Like that story doesn't, like, even if his dad, like, wasn't, like, a top player or anything, and only was there at the Clippers, I think it was like 2 seasons what I saw the screenshot of his player card said. like you don't a family, a bond between a father and son over, especially over something like sports. Like there's bonds between parents and kids between like with the theater, and you know, one was an actor, and then they see their kid get a chance to do the same thing, like and be on like those moments mean more than what like the simple plainness of a game, you know. So like that's cool for him, and it's all like the plus side to James Harden is and I gotta take Kobe Altman at his word, and we've seen action from Kobe Altman. That's why I trust his words more than I, you know, from other people in other organizations. He said that Harden like made sure he didn't invoke his no trade clause, and like he was all about he wanted to come here and knows that like Cleveland is a home for basketball. Like
Yeah.
yeah, guess what? There is one guy that set that up and instilled that into the organization. Like instead of the organization instilling it to their players, like it was kind of reversed. One player instilled that into an organization and to an owner. Like that's what you want. So
Yeah.
we'll see how this goes. We get the first look at him. It's probably what 10:30 in Sacramento on Saturday. Probably gonna have to stay up again
Yeah.
for it. Hopefully they just start him and I can like watch like the first few minutes, and you know if I end up passing out because it's been a long ass week, there's plenty more games to like actually watch the full
Sure.
thing. You know, I'm still like I'm going to get like I don't really have a choice, but I am open to giving this a shot and like allowing my initial thoughts on this. I can only tell you how I feel.
Yeah.
It's how I feel about seeing that it's James Harden as the player that was what started the breakup of the core four. But I'm going to be open-minded and I'm going to be a fan and I'm going to be rooting for this team, for James Harden. And I will take this team having success and going beyond the second round and, contending for a championship any day of the week over any of my takes being right.
Yeah, I mean that's what this gives. I think it gives the Cavs a more stable playoff identity. It definitely cleans up their salary cap future, and I mean it's obviously a shorter path to contention. I mean it's a championship swings, and I think that this is what contenders do. So I think that it might not be the popular opinion within the fan base, but at least we're seeing action and trying to do something to get past that second round. Which I mean if we sustain one more second round exit, which we still can. We never know.
Yeah.
But at least we're trying something different to see if we can get past that. So Donovan Mitchell's future here is questionable as well. So we have that short time, and hopefully he brings a lot to the table here. I don't think the Cavs got worse. I think they got smarter. I think they got tougher and more experience, and I think they got closer to the level that they've been chasing for years now. But I think doesn't matter. We just got to see it on the court. So
yeah, and here's what really matters: we've seen an aggressive Jared Allen with Evan Mobley out. We need to see an aggressive Jared Allen when Evan Mobley comes back, and when they're not especially when they're not on the floor together. Like, okay, if Mobley's getting more of the attention and maybe more things are coming his way, as what people think he's supposed to be or whatever, and Allen's kind of there, like. Allen, you're there to get the rebounds, and when you go out, get your break, and you come back for Evan Mobley, you go in and dominate, and you take advantage of those opportunities because you're going to have James Harden to get you the ball. You're going to have Dennis Schroeder to get you the ball. He's going like a true point guard to run the offense, even if Mitchell has to sit down. Now Schroeder comes in at the point guard, and I can see all of the greatness of like from a basketball standpoint.
Sure.
Let's just look at that for just 1 second before we get out of here.
Okay.
You start with Harden and Donovan Mitchell. I don't know if maybe it's probably Jalen Tyson.
Tyson has to be the three.
Yeah. Mobley's healthy, then it's Mobley and Allen. Okay, like that's your starting lineup. Now as guys start to filter in and out, now okay, Donovan Mitchell goes to get a rest, and he's already playing off the ball, so you're going to be able to get him in different situations. And James Harden's going to be able to find him as a passer. He goes to the bench. Harden now goes to the guy that can go one-on-one and create his own shot and things like that. You got Schroeder to run the offense and get guys in the right spots as he starts to learn all of that. You take out Jalen Tyson, who can definitely score the ball but plays great defense and takes on the challenges of the best defenses. Oh, let's bring in another great defender in Keon Ellis. Like you're not If you're a great player on the other team, you're not getting a break just because
Yeah.
Jalen Tyson sat down.
Not to mention like Sam Merrill. Hopefully, Max Strus comes back and has his shot ready to go. Like that. There's a path here where this team can be lethal, especially in a weakened Eastern, conference. I mean, I feel like it's this year or never. I don't know.
Yeah,
especially
and you bring a guy like Sam Merrill. Like, I feel like Merrill's more of a guy that has more success coming off the bench even than starting. And then you bring him off the bench is just like that sharpshooter and can go on a little run and hit 3 or 4 threes in a row and really crush the other team's spirit. Like, that's important. Allen and Mobley, if they stay aggressive. Thomas Bryant, while it's not necessarily the best of options, like, that's a guy that's not going to take crap from anybody. And you bring him in, and like, that's a decent third option at the center spot. And if you need 5 minutes from him, he's going to take advantage of those 5 minutes, whether it's scoring or taking those fouls. He's going to take advantage of those minutes. Like, it's somebody that you watched him on the bench with Indiana, and when he would come in the game, like, he would just wreak havoc and hard fouls and all that kind of stuff. Right. A guy you hate to play against, but you love him when he's on your team. That type of guy. Not everybody's going to get to play, though, either. So what do these rotations look like? That's got to be figured out. But these are the options. Like, that's what depth comes in. As long as the other stuff doesn't become a problem, if things are going tough in a game and they're trying to figure things out. Look, that game wasn't pretty last night, even though it was a 30-point win. The Clippers came back in that second quarter because guys didn't know, or 2 guys didn't know where they needed to be, and then that threw off everybody else because they're trying to help them. They're trying to, then adjust on the fly different than they have to. Those types of moments are coming. The basketball can be really good.
Yeah.
It's now on, it's on Coach Atkinson to fit it all together. But more so, it's the players that need to look themselves in the mirror, look at each other in the locker room, and say the effort that we have put in, as we have found the effort that it takes to win games in this league, and we've actually put that forth and allowed our talent to show through, coinciding with effort, then you have something that's very, very special and could lead to a very special ending.
Yeah. Real quick, have you seen Tyler Jerome's stat line for the 3 games he's played?
Yes.
That was interesting.
Yeah. People have been very upset about that, and like they have every right to now, because Lonzo Ball,
they chose Merrill over.
Yes.
Jerome,
and like Merrill has shown through with that contract. Like,
sure.
Merrill's not an issue. Has he been hurt this year? Yes. But Ty Jerome just came back too.
Yeah.
Like, people
and it's a 3-game sample size. I just that's all that a huge talking point on Twitter. For those who don't know, Jerome's played 3 games so far this season. He scored 20 points, 19 points, and 28 points. 1 rebound, 6 rebounds, 1 rebound, and then 6 assists, 8 assists, and 7 assists, and a steal in each game. So absolutely just tearing it up right now.
And he's a great player, and everybody can see, like, it's always, what have you done for me lately?
Right.
The people that are complaining about that and saying that the Cavs, if you say that the Cavs chose Lonzo Ball over Ty Jerome, you're wrong, because they didn't. It was Sam Merrill, and everybody likes Sam Merrill, and he's definitely a key piece to what they want to do going forward. If they chose Lonzo Ball over Isaac Okoro, which I don't know that that's. I mean, Isaac was good at the start when Chicago was like very good with the first 10 games. They just kind of revamped their whole team, and I don't know how big of a piece Isaac Okoro is going to be. I love Isaac. I have nothing against Isaac. I'm just saying, like, that's not as big of a gap as people think that it is. But also, if you look at, like, Ty Jerome's playing great, and if you're saying that the Cavs made the wrong decision not keeping Ty Jerome, I understand that. But if you're the same person that was upset with him when he wasn't doing what he did in the regular season, the postseason, then you don't get to complain, because I was told the regular season doesn't matter.
Yeah, that's a good point.
He doesn't get he's probably not going to get a chance with Memphis to go to the postseason and show if he can be different. Right. That's unfortunate, but still, regular season actually does matter. This team has to win game. They have to climb that table. They have to keep climbing. They can't just think, oh, well, now we got James Harden. Now we can really settle into this. Like, oh, only the postseason matters. Let's turn it on at that point. Let's, kind of just get through this, work through things. No, you have to put forth effort to win as many games as possible, climb that table. Hopefully those top 3 teams come back down to you, and you can slot yourself somewhere into that top 4 solidified. If you can't catch Detroit, which I don't know that's going to happen, then you put yourself in, like, you carry momentum into the playoffs, and then you go try to prove that you're a different team at that point, like everybody's been waiting to see. But you still have to play in the regular season. It still matters, people. I was told it doesn't, but I'm telling you, it does.
Also, I mean, going off that, I think that this trade, I wholeheartedly think that this trade is going to bring a ton of fair weather fans back to watch the Cavs. I think viewership's going to rise tremendously. Even if Garland was healthy, I just don't think that Harden's going to bring national eyes as well, not just local eyes.
He is.
And I mean, for many fans who just are watching a game here or there, or those guys who think, the regular season doesn't matter, well, guess what? They immediately matter now. It immediately matters with one move. So I expect viewership to go up a ton. So.
And what I want at Rocket Arena is what I felt when I was covering the game against the Lakers last week. I think I said it on here. I had goosebumps. It felt like 2007. They were wearing jerseys from that first LeBron era. And the way the crowd reacted to everything, and the Cavs went on their run, they went on their Cavalanche, or, I don't know if we had a name for it back then, but like one of those classic offensive runs when LeBron was here and guys were getting hot and all that kind of stuff. Like, it was loud.
Yeah.
That's what I want. And James Harden gets to be a part of that. I think that's what else other players that come into Cleveland, especially the basketball team, I think that's what they see and they hear the fans. I think that also helps, whatever they were before, they fit it, like they come to Cleveland and be that. They be a Cavalier at that point, and then, once they leave, then, things can figure themselves out at that point. But it's like we can kind of create a bubble, a pretty great and loyal bubble around these teams. And
just wait till LeBron comes back next year too. So
if players buy into it, we'll see if
he's going to sell the rights to his farewell tour and then sign with the Cavs on the vet minimum. So
all my jerseys are sitting right over here. Don't get my hopes up that I can bust them all out.
Speculation.
Yes, pure speculation. Yeah. But it'd be one heck of a retirement tour if he wanted to play one more year and decided to do it here in Cleveland, and he would still be giving you everything he got and was trying to win the championship, trying to go out on top. Boy, oh boy, wouldn't that be a fun story to follow all next season? But
yeah, J.R. Smith said that he thinks he's gonna go back to Cleveland next year too. So there's that. I mean, there's probably not a source, more of a feeling, but nonetheless, something.
This is feeling like that last year in Miami for him, where like Cleveland LeBron like just started to be in the same sentences more often than not. And if he plays one more year, he's not gonna be in LA. That's for sure. If he plays one more year, he's either playing one more year here or he's not gonna play at all. And that'll be a decision for him, and I will respect and admire any decision he makes because he has given everything that he has through 23 seasons.
He's coming back. He's coming back, Kevin. He's like the beacon. He's coming back. Sorry.
I want to believe it. But with that, that's gonna wrap up this edition of the Voice Line. This was fun. This was a real fun
Good conversation, buddy.
Good conversation, absolutely. If you guys want to make sure, is this still at Dynasty Clee?
Yep.
At Dynasty Clee on X, you can have conversations there. At Kevin and Seven, we're willing to have conversations. If you're on our side or on a different side, we will definitely talk and be as respectful as possible and not. I know that there's some conversations on social media that get outlandish. We won't do that. But if you start swearing at me, I won't.
Yeah.
I won't. Well, I'll block you, I'll mute you, whatever, because I need to start doing that more. But also, I won't respond. Some people do, but I won't because I can get in trouble at work for being tied to a tweet that has an expletive in it at a place that is still ruled in certain facets by the FCC. So I have to make sure I play it safe. Yeah. So Even if you're agreeing with me and you're excited and you use a swear word, if I don't respond, it's not because I don't like you and I'm not feeling your excitement. I just can't. I don't want to lose my job. I really don't. For Ryan Mosser, I'm Kevin Arnold. Thank you so much for tuning in to Voice of the Land. Brought to you by Greeny Sports Cards. GreenySportsCards.com. Cannot thank them enough for all of their support. Everything that they do. They're also a proud partner with the Crunch.
Yep.
Get out to the Wolstein Center, theclevelandcrunch.com. February
Right now,
21st,
buy one get one tickets on their website too. So
February 21st is the next game. So make sure get out there, enjoy it. It is a fun time. I'm telling you, trust me, it is an absolute blast for your family. Get out there, take advantage of that deal. So affordable and even better now with the deal they got going on. Thank you to Greenies. Thank you to Peter Tellep and LP Productions. For Ryan Mosser, I'm Kevin O, reminding you, don't let anyone ever tell you it's just a game. We truly love everybody. Always 3,000. Don't be like the Browns. Don't talk about it. Be about it.
Cavs are winning the NBA championship this year, folks. So get ready.
Let it be known and live life all gas, no breaks. We'll see you next time right here on the Voice of the Land.